Hi everybody, I hope you had a great weekend. This week I'm going to be playing Jeskai Geist, and if you watched my stream, or not I don't stream, I make videos, but if you watched my Jeskai Delver series last week, then you saw this at the very end. And my intention was to play this deck this week. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this deck, but I'll just say what it is. It's a Sultai Eternal Command deck, and if you don't know what Eternal Command is, you basically get to a point where you're Aether Vialing in Eternal Witness on turn 3. So the idea is you, let's say, start off by counter drawing something with Cryptic Command. Then on the following turn, so you have a Cryptic Command on the graveyard, you have an Aether Vial on 3, you have an Eternal Witness in your hand. They try to do something, you vial in Eternal Witness, use the trigger to return Cryptic Command to your hand. Then you counter their spell and return this permanent back to your hand, so you can repeat that again. You can repeat that at least once a turn. And it's kind of like a soft lock out of the game. Also, you can, have early pressure with Tarmogoyfs, ways to slow them down with discard, stuff like that. And the Sultai is a new take on this deck. It's not mine. I kind of stole this from Todd Stevens. But the reason I'm not going to play it is I ran it through a friendly league and did pretty poorly. My unfamiliarity with the deck was just kind of debilitating. Really silly things like just learning the mana base, for example. There was one point in time where, because of the way I had fetched, and sequenced my fetches, I was having trouble casting Eternal Witness and Cryptic Command. You need, black on turn 1, black green on turn 2, double green on turn 3, and triple blue on turn 4. So you have to know what order you really need to get your lands into play. In fact, I watched part of Todd Stevens' stream where he played the deck, and he did the exact same thing. So I don't want to play the deck until I've at least had some proficiency with it. I'm never going to, I'm not going to ever play perfect anyway, but I was making just so many mistakes and doing some just things wrong. I think I could give you guys better content if I waited. So since I don't want to play Delver again. I do kind of want to play Delver, but I have an itch to play Jeskai Geist, especially in a form that I just feel like playing it in, which is Dragons. I'm going to explain why this Engineered Explosives is in the main deck. So the deck was more or less like this, and I haven't decided if I really want 3 Geists or not. My thinking behind not having the Geist's main, or the third Geist, is you don't want him in every matchup. And this deck is not as much, I've said this in the past, so if you've heard me say this, I'll try to be brief, but this deck is not as much of a all-in Geist deck as decks of old. Decks of old were really trying to play Geist on turn 3 no matter what and ride him to victory. This deck is much happier to play a little bit more of a controlling game, set up some Temple of Pays with Spell Queller, and then maybe, like on turn 6 or turn 5, cast Geist of St. Traff with Logic Knock backup or something like that. So I don't know that I need as many in the main deck. I was trying to find out how to, can I move him to the side? And then if so, how can I make some sideboard room? Then I thought, well, maybe instead of making sideboard room, I can just move the Engineered Explosives to the main deck and see how that works out. It's a versatile card. There's going to be some matchups where they go bird, and you have this EE and you're able to get some nice value out of it. I don't know if it'll end up being too clunky or not, but I think it's fine to do that. This is not moving around the way that I want it to. Now, one other thought that I had I want to share with you guys is the 4th Logic Knot. I almost wanted to try the deck basically with 4 Logic Knots in the main and 3 Geists in the main, or 4 Logic Knots in the main and 3 Geists in the main, along with this dragon. And the reason being, trying to see just, that's good if I want to try and be more of a Geist deck, I think. You're more likely to counter their turn 2 play. We have a lot of turn 1 interaction to hopefully interact with them on turn 1. We're more likely to counter their play on turn 2 and then play a Geist. Also, from playing the Flash deck, it seemed like the deck can support 4 Logic Knots. So, something that I'm considering. Now, as far as this big, awesome dragon, 2 big, awesome dragons, You know, I've seen some people play Pia and Kieran Nalaar, and I want to talk about that card because I don't know why. I know that it's a grindy card. I know it's the red Lingering Souls, but why do we need that? That's my question. What matchup does that card fix for us? Because if you're going to tell me it's good against Affinity, I'm not going to argue with you, but I will say I don't think we need a lot of help versus Affinity. Sure, they can have some really amazing draws, but we have ways to counter their Etched Champions or exile them. And then we have, you know, all of the cards. We're Jeskai deck. All of the cards in our deck are pretty good against them. Not to mention we get to bring in things like Wear Tear, Is It Static Cast, Ray of Engineered Explosives. I just don't really think we need help with that. There's not a lot of GBX decks right now, which I can see Pia and Kieran Nalaar being okay against. But at the same rate, who cares about Pia and Kieran Nalaar? This just happened to me, I think, in my match with Jeskai Delver. The same thing that I feel like I don't want Pia and Kieran Nalaar happened, which is, so if you're playing against Jen and you play Pia and Kieran Nalaar, it's like, let's pretend they have a Goyf or something. They bolt the main body and then attack your two 1/1s with a 3/4. Like, what did you... This doesn't seem that good. And if we're going to do things that are haymakers, I either want them to really take over the game, like Elspeth or Kuranos. Like, I want them to be difficult to remove and take over the game. So I would say Kuranos and Elspeth, I like those options. Be really powerful, and just kill my... Or just be really powerful and kill my opponent. And so on the take over the game side, I like Kuranos and Elspeth. I don't know that I like Kuranos right now, so I'd probably err on the side of Elspeth. But as far as killing your opponent, I like Thundermaw Hellkites, and I kind of like the big flash guy, Gearhulk. I tried this recently in some paper practice with a friend because I was trying to figure out how to fix the how can we improve the matchup against Valakut, and I wanted to try this Torrential Gearhulk. Now, I also was kind of wondering if the Thundermaw Hellkites might be able to help. Like, can you slow them down enough where you're Geisting them and then you Geist plus Thundermaw Hellkite on turn 5 and they're dead? Might be too slow. Probably is. But and I don't know that we really need 2 Thundermaws. Like, 1 is probably fine. But my also thought is, instead of messing around with Elspeth and Pia and Kieran's against the grindy matchups, I just want to dragon you. Like, I just want to be like, dragon, if you don't kill it, it kills you. So we'll see how that works out. But as far as the Valakut matchup, like I mentioned, one way that we win that matchup is by slowing them down if we can on turn 1 and 2 and playing a Geist of St. Traft. And then just keeping them off their lands and just slowing them down while we apply pressure. If we have no pressure, we're going to lose. One reason that I like Shadow of Doubt is it satisfies the early... Okay, let me explain here. So I've tried some... I don't like 3 mana things trying to disrupt the Valakut deck, like Molten Rain and stuff like that. I've tried them, but they compete with Geist, they compete with Queller, and you're left with this awkward decision of, do I Molten Rain or do I Geist? And I don't want that decision. I played with... the one that turns their islands into, or their lands into an island, and you draw a card. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You're saying the name right now, and you're like, Nate, why don't you know this card? Spreading Seas. So I played with Spreading Seas, and the reality about Spreading Seas against Valakut is that they just don't care. It's good against Valakut, the land itself, but it's not that great against anything else. And if you are waiting... If you're holding them up in case they play a Valakut, you're just not doing anything with your turn. The other thing about using your counter spells on their early cards, like Spell Snare is fine. Spell Snare, you're only doing their 2 mana plays. But the problem, say, with Logic Knot or Negating or something like that, their early plays, is that you kind of feel back. You're like, oh, I really probably also need this counter for their later stuff, and what if, I counter this and I play guys, but they're still too fast, and I don't have the counter for when they scape shift or something like that? One thing I like about Shadow of Doubt is it works against both, but then it replaces itself. So you don't have to feel bad about casting Shadow of Doubt on turn 2 against one of their ramp spells, because it replaces itself, and there's a good chance it draws you into another counter spell. Conversely, if you draw it later, you can cast it with Escape Shift on the stack or Titan on the stack. So... it's also reasonable against other matchups, like against another Jeskai deck. You could bring Shadow of Doubt in. It's like it can, at that rate, it could be a 2-mana Molten Rain. You can bring it in against the Eldrazi decks. I don't know how great. I mean, it was obviously a clear card you could play when Pod was a deck, but I like the interaction of Shadow of Doubt against Valakut decks. I like that, like I said, I like that it's on curve with Geist. You could Shadow of Doubt on 2, Geist on 3. I like that you can play Shadow of Doubt later. I like that it is kind of a good tempo play against them, but replaces itself so you don't have to feel bad about expending your counter spells. I think it seems like something that I want to try to see how it affects the Valakut matchup. I don't know if I'm going to play against Valakut, but I'm going to have them in there just to kind of assess the card in general. Outside of that, I think you guys probably know what all of these cards are for. My sideboard doesn't have... This is one way I like to build my sideboards. As a quick note, I don't really have a lot of cards that are like, this is for Stony Side, or this is for Affinity. It's more just like, this is for graveyard decks. This is for decks with instants. This is for decks that are searching. This is for big mana decks, you know? And it just sort of like overlaps what's already in my deck. This is to improve our combo matchup and give us more flash capability. This is for small creatures, big creatures, decks we want to kill, or grindy decks. Any deck, you know, it's like it's not really like when I look at the sideboard, I'm not thinking about what matchup things come in and come out for. I'm kind of more just thinking like what cards are good against what type of decks. These are decks where Geist is good. Okay, that was probably a bit more rambling than I've been doing lately. Before I get started with the league, I do want to mention my last vlog, which was about the best Magic the Gathering bag ever. I do a parody of Tolarian Community College. I've gotten really good feedback from it, so if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do it. I do a parody, but I also really do review an awesome bag. Also, check out my new YouTube channel, which is about my adventures in landscape photography here in Switzerland. If you're not into photography, I still think you might like it because I go to some beautiful places, and I try to tell a story along the way. Okay, let's get into a game. We would like to play first. This hand seems pretty good. We can, if they happen to play like birds or have early creatures, we have interaction for that. Plus, we can hold up mana for Spell Snare to snare their turn 2 play. I'm going to keep this. And I'm actually going to play a Flooded Strand. And the reason is I'm going to get a Sacred Foundry. I don't want to shock if I don't need to. Like, if they do play an early creature, I definitely want to bolt on this turn. But, okay, so we're going to play against Dredge, it's most likely. Well, maybe this is the black-red deck that I've kind of been hearing about, or seen, or whatever. There's some black-red, like, I played against it once, black-red. Maybe they have Young Pyromancer. They have like, ooh, God, Magus. Maybe I just want to get a, I think I'm going to get a Plains, actually, now that I've seen that. I just want to insulate ourselves against Blood Moon if it comes up. I might not need the Bolt. They didn't do anything. I'll play this island. So I don't have Logic Knot up now if they're able to like exile a card. But I do have... So this is definitely for a turn 2 Blood Moon, almost assuredly. So we're going to, as they say, put the kibosh on that. I'm going to shock. I kind of don't want him to know I have this other island. I don't know that it's really worth concealing. I don't know how important our life total is, but that's what I'm going to do. So the Blood Moon, as expected. I'm gonna play around. I'm gonna play around Simian Spirit Guide because they're this kind of deck. They're the like I want a Blood Moon use early as freaking possible kind of deck. So it's very possible that we may need to play around Simian Spirit Guide. Now, hopefully, we draw Fetch to make our Logic Knot better. We didn't, but we do have Snap Logic Knot up. Unfortunately, we only have it for 1. So if he goes like land Blood Moon, we're kind of screwed. Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's not much we can do about that. What I could do though is The reason I'm pausing is I'm trying to decide if I want to path my own Snapcaster Mage. He might have a bolt, which would kind of stink. But I really want to get a third island. I guess I don't have to decide now. The reason I was thinking is like, well, what if I go Snapcaster Mage and then hold up Logic Knot? And then if he does nothing, I can path. I'm just going to let this resolve. The reason I'm also letting it resolve there is since he tapped out, what I think I want to do is probably just start getting some of this burn out there. I think I'm just going to Helix our opponent. I would have liked to have snap bolted there, but I do want to cast this. That's cool. Kind of want all of this. What order do I want these in? I actually think I want both of these, but I kind of want to draw this Logic Knot first because I'm going to go ahead and play this on 3. And then next turn I can crack it, draw the Logic Knot, and I have mana to do both of those things. Hopefully he's not a Planeswalker here. The main deck Blood Moon's proving useful. Yeah, so I'll have the mana to, like I said, crack the explosives and then hold up Logic Knot. And we'll just be, we're going to just draw go more or less. Oh my gosh, Ensnaring Bridge too. That's gross. Yeah, so, you know what's kind of interesting? So I'm going to pass, like I said. I wonder what he's looking for. Probably a bridge. There's one card in hand. We have an answer to this Blood Moon, but he also can't play a bridge as long as we have this out. So, and we have a Spell Queller. I think I'm just going to snap Helix our opponent and attack, actually. I mean, if we're able to start apply pressure and then sit back on some counters at the same time. If he bolts this, that's fine. I mean, I'm curious what that last card in his hand is. We have another threat. And then if he bolts this. So this is cool because he can't, as long as we have this out, he can't really bridge, but he's going to want to bridge. Koth. Koth seems like a really good target for Spell Queller. But Koth is also, I think, scary enough that I just want to Logic Knot it. I think, yeah, I think I could just not, I'm just going to Logic Knot and bolt him. We'll do it for... You know, I'm gonna exile the... I would really like to Spell Queller this, but my gut says that he is actually he chose not to bolt this, but he has a bolt because he knows he's going to play Koth, and he's like, well, if they Spell Queller it, I can bolt them. That's my thinking. Could be totally wrong. Let's see, what are the benefits here? If I do this for 3, he could also just have that Simian Spirit Guide, which he probably doesn't have. It's probably just me like playing around nothing, but I'm also thinking, do I need to keep up this engineered explosives? I don't think so. Yeah, okay, so what we're going to do is we're gonna do this for 1. He could pay 2. That's 4. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do it for 4 just to make sure that we don't get guided. Simian Spirit guided. I'm going to bolt him at the end of turn. Then we have Spell Queller up. He's like, if I bolt him, he's more likely, I think, to, if this is a bolt, he is more likely to then bolt our Snapcaster Mage. It could also be like a ritual or something weird. But then that makes if he bolts our Snapcaster Mage because he's like, oh, he bolted me, now my life's getting low, that makes our Spell Queller better. That's a mountain. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to do anything just yet. Magma Jet and Scry. Do I let this happen or do I Queller? I think I just let this happen. I'm definitely going to put this other Queller in play now. Kind of is a little awkward with our explosives, obviously, but I feel like he doesn't have an answer to this Spell Queller. If I Queller this, I'm going to go for it. Alright, sweet. Okay, okay, well an interesting thing about Thundermaw Hellkite here is that we can cast it under a Blood Moon. Disdainful Stroke seems good. This deck's kind of strange with all of these, like, I think we just need to, okay, so cast under Blood Moon, get rid of Blood Moon, get rid of Blood Moon. Not sure about Geist, and the main reason is it going to be worth tapping out for? We know he's playing Anger of the Gods. We know he's probably going to keep them in. I'm thinking we still probably bring it in. Shadow of Doubt, I don't think it does anything here. Disdainful Stroke seems cool because it hits his Planeswalkers. Doesn't hit the Blood Moon. Therefore, but I think we have like at least 4 cards to take out here. I don't think we're going to need these paths for anything. I don't want to cut the Cryptics, but at the same time, they are good in a long game here. Maybe we can cut 1 and then also an Electrolyze. Maybe just cut both Electrolyzes, actually. Let's see, if we take out these 7, bring in these 6. It's not that I want to cut the Cryptics, it's just like they're the hardest spell we have to cast. Maybe I want Click more than I want. Maybe I want Click because I could potentially interact with the Blood Moon effect. Is It's very likely that we get turn 2 Blood Moon as well. So that will mean that he is on the... On his... We'll have 1 land in play. Is there any way to stop that? There isn't for us. Alright, so... I really don't recall him doing a whole lot of searching. Puts a lot of things in his graveyard. I'm going to bring the Ensnaring Bridge because of something like... I'm going to bring in the Surgical for something like Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, so don't want to get turn 3 Blood Moon. That'll be real sad. Hopefully we have a basic heavy hand. Alright, this is interesting because it has a lot of what we're looking for. I'm going to keep it. And this is just... I mean, we could still just... Like, this could go terribly. So this is like, I guess he's just faithless looting just to find lock pieces and get them going early, and that's basically it. All right, so we could still, like I said, go bad for us, but let's just see. Hopefully we can find a plains here. We didn't. I think I'm gonna bottom all this because I'm really just looking for ways to get basics into play, kind of desperately bad. Ritual Blood Moon is my guess. Yeah. Oh, we can thankfully deal with that specifically. Let's start off with the Serum Visions. That could be useful as well. The Logic Knot could be useful. I'm going to go bottom, top. And I guess I'm just bolting this. I could also play another Blood Moon here, which would be kind of annoying. Yeah, he did. Alright, well, we might as well bolt this. Get that out of the way. Probably shouldn't have put that Logic Knot on top. Just play that as it comes into play on top. I guess that new rule's in effect now. Alright, this game is unfortunately probably over. We're not going to be able to beat that card now, I don't think. He didn't attack. I guess he's sad. Can't say I feel too much sympathy for him. I guess if we go land next turn, we get to cast Thundermaw Hellkite and attack Koth. That would be cool. Because if he has no cards in hand and he's not really doing a whole lot, Thundermaw Hellkite attack Koth, he just has a bunch of air, then we just kill him with Thundermaw Hellkite. There's a chance for that to happen. Yep. I would just crack that personally. I mean, I'm not really doing much. Alright, we need a land this turn. Need a land this turn. Then we get to kill Koth all in one shot. Wow, that's awesome. And it's a white source. Alright, well, we're just playing Big Daddy. Oh, I love casting Thundermaw Hellkite. I love casting Thundermaw Hellkite and wrecking Koth. That's even better. Attack Koth. Kill Koth. Woohoo! What a way to put it to the Blood Moon guy. Sweet. That was fun. I was about to say, so I think what my follow-up play was going to be was just to go ahead and like red, white, blue, engineered explosives, turn our hand back on, probably just play a Geist of Saint Draft. I'm just like so pleased with myself because that's like such an annoying position to be in. It's like, you know, you could get turn 2 Blood Moon, but you're on the draw and there's not much you can do about it. It just all worked out. Drew the land, had the thing that I can play under Blood Moon, killed Koth. Couldn't be happier with that. And drew the planes. So even if we hadn't drawn the planes, I think we were in great shape that game. Just because, you know, he'd have to basically have Roast. He did not have, he wasn't Scred, which was a little surprising because of, you know, Scred could kill the Thundermaw. But I'm sure he was like, well, I just have no way to kill that, and it's going to kill me in a few turns. The only thing that could have made that better is if we just had, like, running Thundermaws. It was like, Thundermaw kill Koth, untap Thundermaw attack for 10. That would have been cool. Okay, nothing much to say about that, I think. I will say that even though I didn't end up cracking it, I probably could have sequenced that whole thing a little bit better. Maybe not, though. I liked keeping the engineered explosives out in the game 1 because, as I said, that basically means that he just can't ensnaring bridges if he ever finds one, and that card is actually like we have a chance to get a Blood Moon, but if an ensnaring bridge sticks on the battlefield, we're just kind of dead. But the one of engineered explosives in the main was definitely kind of interesting. The one thing I do like about it, I mean, we're only on 2 Geists, but I like how if we have an early Geist, it can be a pseudo sweeper in some situations. And I also like how, you know, we're not like Jund. We don't have Abrupt Decay. We don't have Maelstrom Pulse. It does give us a way to deal with problematic stuff. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you haven't checked out my latest vlog, I'll put a link up above my head, along with the link to my latest landscape photography video. Thank you very much. If you like my work, please like, and, well, if you like the video, please like it. But if you want to see more, really, please subscribe. That's how I know that people are enjoying my work. And when I see like people subscribing and liking, I'm like, yeah, I want to keep making videos. I'm doing something the community likes, and I want to stay on that plan. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, for round 2. Bye.